Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of October 12th, 2025. Astrology in action as I am recording this podcast on the day Mercury in Scorpio squares Pluto in Aquarius. Now, on last week's podcast, I talked about how to be aware that there could be power outages or systems down at this time. And I have been having a really hard time recording this podcast with my software, Descript. I've spent an hour troubleshooting, whether it was my microphone, whether it was something else, because Mercury communicates and Pluto can be like this catastrophic thing where there's a complete breakdown. And what was happening was I was recording the podcast and then there was words missing, complete words and sentences missing from the recording. I wound up figuring out how to reload the desktop app that had been a problem because of my antivirus software. So this has been a whole big ordeal around communication. So wish me luck. If this keeps going, it means it worked. The Birthdate Company makes amazing products, and I am a proud affiliate. I especially love the Birthdate book. It's a fully personalized, beautiful, and unique reading of your birth chart with over 70 pages of detailed horoscope analysis. It is such high quality. I absolutely love it. They also make amazing birth date candles. You can get it for yourself or as a gift for someone else. So check out the store and use my coupon code Celeste10 for a 10% discount. Go to bit.ly/3PW3NFM. You can find that in the link in the show notes. Enjoy. The theme of the week is steel magnolias, and there are three big things I want you to think about as you navigate this week. The first is that we are going to have a last quarter moon tomorrow at 20 degrees of Cancer. The last quarter moon is the crisis of consciousness of the moon cycle. It's a time when hidden truths can surface and we can be challenged to release outdated patterns. We can have insights on what came before over these last 3 weeks since the new moon and a new understanding. We can reap rewards or suffer consequences or just have a learning experience. The moon is at home in the sign of Cancer where it can do what it does with ease, which is feel and emote, seek security and nurture. And the moon is conjunct Jupiter, which is exalted in this sign. This is really beautiful energy because you can feel very emotionally grounded and safe. You may be noticing big feelings of nostalgia. You may get a whiff of something coming out of a bakery that reminds you of your childhood and sends you on this emotional journey. Could have big emotional swells around issues of home, safety, or belonging. We also can be really sensitive to perceived threats. A big story of this time is that Jupiter in Cancer is squaring Chiron in Aries, And Chiron is the wounded healer. And Aries speaks to the self, so there can be these emotional things swelling up around the self and feeling really extra tender. Now, Chiron is also conjunct Eris, the goddess of chaos. Worldwide, we are seeing increases in nationalism and people in conflict around who belongs and who doesn't. Shadow Cancer energy can be really tribal and pushing out the other. You're either part of my family or you're not. You're part of my community or you're not. We're in Libra season. The sun is spotlighting tension around relationships, justice, balance, the social contract between people. There's tension legally between the executive branch of the United States and state and city executive leaders as the president tries to send ICE and National Guard troops into cities to enact immigration raids. I talked about it last week. Homeland Security teams came down from helicopters and raided this apartment building in Chicago. Babies as young as 5 years old were zip tied. That is the energy of this approaching square of Jupiter in Cancer squaring Chiron and Eris in Aries, like this conflict that's potentially going to be leading to real violence with the justification of protecting the homeland. And this last quarter moon, this can be one of the stories that is coming up. The Sabian symbol is a prima donna singing. Part of the reason it's called Steel Magnolias is I started really thinking about Dolly Parton today. We knew that she was sick, and today is the 7th of October, and her sister asked for people to pray for her. Dolly Parton is a national treasure. She's a humanitarian. She has done so much to help those less fortunate. She grew up poor and really has used her life, her voice, her music to help lift people who are less fortunate. She's beloved by people. She's been a wonderful life force, and her chart has been very activated lately. A month or so ago, there was a lunar eclipse at 15 Pisces opposite her ascendant at 14 Virgo. So that lunar eclipse, which is a huge full moon, activating her ascendant. And this is a common time, whether the moon is conjunct your ascendant or opposite, where it can be a signal that your health is changing, because the ascendant represents our physical body and vitality. It's not always an illness. Sometimes, especially if someone's younger, it can be that they decide, ooh, I'm going to get in shape. Ooh, I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to start going to the gym. These can be some of the decisions that are made. But whenever your ascendant is eclipsed, it's a good idea to get a checkup. Now, Dolly is 79 years old or so. So she's at an elevated age where people are very concerned about her health. She lost her husband of like 50 some years earlier this year. And she was in the movie Steel Magnolias, which was such a wonderful movie. It was a huge hit. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It just got me really nostalgic. 1989 was when that movie came out, and it was such a different time where the world seemed so much simpler and life seemed so much better at that time. And with Jupiter in Cancer, I'm feeling very nostalgic. This last quarter moon is part of a moon phase family. These are 27-month cycles Well, there will be advancing lunations every 9 months, and you can mark your progress. You can use them for planning. The new moon of this cycle, where something may have been initiated in your life when the sun and the moon were both at 24 degrees of Cancer on July 17th, 2023. The first quarter moon was April 15th, 2024, where the sun was in Aries, the moon in Cancer, both at 26 degrees. The full moon of this cycle was on January 13th of 2025. The sun in Capricorn, the moon in Cancer, both at 23 degrees. This was around the time of the LA fires, so there may be some big news legally this week related to potentially insurance or things related to the fire, with the sun in Libra and the moon in Cancer on October 13th, 2025, both at 20 degrees. Now, with these, you give 2 weeks on either side, so you can think about them loosely. Think about Cancer themes about home, family, foundations, ancestry, as well as where you have around 20 to 26 degrees of Cancer in your natal chart. See if you can see a story in your life. The next thing I want to make you aware of is that Venus enters Libra tomorrow, October 13th, through November 6th. We have a last quarter moon and this sign change on the same day. So there is going to be something related to an action taken. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, harmony, alliances, relationships, diplomacy, and it is going to move from the sign of its fall at 29 Virgo into 0 degrees of Libra, at home, comfortable, where it can do what it does with ease, in an air sign which communicates and connects. Libra energy is elegant and refined. This could be symbolic of some kind of peace deal being made between people or countries or warring factions. This can be someone has been on a diet, and at 29 Virgo, they get on the scale and they have hit their goal weight, and they put on an outfit they haven't worn for years, or you haven't seen someone in a long time. And oh my God, they look fantastic. All the Single Ladies by Beyonce was playing in my head while I was preparing for this. As soon as Venus enters her home sign, your attention may turn to themes of art, culture, diplomacy, fairness, justice, or striving for win-win solutions. Now, as soon as Venus enters Libra, she starts to oppose Neptune retrograde in Aries. Neptune is the planet of illusions and delusions, and you can be projecting glamour onto something or someone, or maybe you're seeing someone in a soldier's uniform that is looking very refined. And Venus also starts to trine Uranus retrograde in Gemini and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. They're both at 1 or 0 degrees. So there's this grand trine in air. You may be hearing someone who is very eloquent giving an amazing speech, or there could be a tribute to someone who embodies these characteristics of being Uranian, like really unique. And with Gemini, having a unique way of talking could be something that we're hearing. And with Pluto in Aquarius, they could be someone who really made significant changes for huge groups of people. this formation where you have a grand trine in air, and Venus opposes Neptune, and this makes a kite formation because 2 points of the grand trine, and this would be Uranus and Pluto, are sextile that Neptune at the bottom. And what kites do, you can get caught in loops in just the grand trine, but what the kite does is it lifts it up and gives it flight. So this is the energy of a beautiful kite flying in the sky. It could be red, white, and blue, or red. It's big energy that we're having with this. It's revolutionary in some ways. When I was writing about this kite formation that Venus makes as soon as it enters the sign of Libra, I was thinking about women, a Venus topic, who have been really noteworthy for their passion. I'm calling this kite Steel Magnolias. Norma Ray is based on a real woman, but Sally Field, who was also in Steel Magnolias, played the lead character, and it was about workers organizing to unionize. There's this famous scene where she gets on a table, stands up, and holds her sign up. And it's really Pluto and Aquarius, power to the people. And she's a revolutionary, Uranus and Gemini, holding this sign saying, enough is enough with being mistreated. Julia Roberts played Erin Brockovich, who was a woman who took on PG&E for poisoning the water. Dolly Parton was a 9 to 5 in Steel Magnolias as well. And 9 to 5, like they were playing these fiery women, her, Jane Fonda, and Lily Tomlin, the three of them, going up against a terrible boss. Demanding fairness is what all of these women did. It gave me the thoughts about the women in Iran who tore off their hijabs and took to the streets after Masha Amini was killed for violating the rules. This is a great time to think about your relationships. What can you do to strive to find win-win solutions with your love partners, any business partners, or best friends? We may see open enemies in combat with this energy. Nicki Minaj has been going off on all kinds of people. She's a rap star, and her chart is really activated. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that Pluto will station to go direct at 1 degrees of Aquarius on Monday as well. So this is all a really big deal, having the last quarter moon, Venus changing signs, and Pluto stationing direct at the same time. Pluto is a planet of power and power struggles. Pluto eliminates, unearths, brings to light, transforms. It erupts with a volcanic force. Pluto rules volcanoes. There could be a volcano going off. The energy is most intense 5 days before and 5 days after. So something may have already happened. Aquarius rules people, groups, the collective. So there could be a real big power struggle between some groups, and who knows, another government may be overthrown somewhere like they did in Nepal. Pluto is out of bounds. I talked about this last week. It is past the declination of the sun, which has a calming influence. And so it's acting on its own. People in Morocco are furious about the government prioritizing the World Cup and the people are not getting their needs met. We can be seeing a group of people experiencing some kind of upheaval, power outages. Like with Pluto, something completely goes down. Aquarius rules aviation. The US government, as I am recording this, is shut down. Planes are having problems because not enough air traffic controllers, or they're calling in sick because they're not getting paid. Or it could have led to a shutdown in air traffic, and then maybe the Republicans came to the table to talk about health care. So this could be what this last quarter moon, that there's so much chaos with travel being interrupted that the Republicans go back to the table and give people back their Obamacare subsidies that are supposed to expire, but the Democrats are holding the line and demanding that they not expire because people's health care costs will double. So this is a fight that they are thinking is worth fighting for the people. Let's hope this is a signal of a turning point for getting the government back open and negotiating a deal. If you are embarking on a new journey, experiencing a major life event, feeling stuck, trying to make a difficult decision, or just looking to make positive changes, astrology can provide life-changing insights. There are several ways to work with me. You can come for a 60 or 90-minute astrology consultation depending on your needs. Engage in longer-term cosmic success coaching where we work together on a 3-month basis to help you overcome blocks, improve your life satisfaction, build better relationships, accomplish your career goals, and understand yourself better using the tool of astrology. Or mystic mentoring if you're an aspiring astrologer and want help with chart analysis techniques. Go to astrologybyceleste.com to check out my offerings. If you have any questions, you can email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com. On Sunday, the word of the day is recognize. The moon in Cancer squares Neptune in Aries at 0 degrees. And this really gives themes of something may feel familiar, may give you nostalgia. Cancer moons are times where we can be thinking about the past. The moon is memory, and it's at home in this sign. And maybe you get excited by a Neptunian thing, could be like an image you see that reminds you of your childhood or younger days. It also gives me the themes of you better recognize. That's about giving someone their due, their honor, as the moon approaches Jupiter, which rules honors. On Monday, the word of the day is remembrance. The song I Will Remember You was playing in my head. Venus is at 29 Virgo, a degree of crisis and decay. That's the degree of the solar eclipse from September 21st. And this could be an event related to that eclipse. And maybe this weekend, somebody got into it with their partner, because Venus at 29 Virgo is semi-square Mars in Scorpio. Mars severs and separates. There could have been some big argument, or someone can see their phone and see some kind of communication about an old love or something like that could happen, or there could be some big fight or big ending is possible. Or you've broken up and you are feeling nostalgic and sad about someone from the past, whether they were a friend, a loved one, a parent, someone who you emotionally really feel connected to with the moon in Cancer. There'll be a last quarter moon at 20 degrees of Cancer at 11:12 a.m. on this day. Last quarter moon, so the crisis of consciousness where you psychologically integrate something. If the tears need to flow, just let them flow. Venus then enters Libra at 2:18 p.m. Pacific time. This could be a time you look down and see, oh, I'm looking really slubby. Let me put something nicer on. Or you've gone to the gym, then you're getting dressed, and maybe you add some extra lipstick. Notice if you do something, maybe it won't happen till Tuesday, where you put a little extra emphasis in your looks, or maybe someone who, when you're relating to them, they're typically a little critical, but they're actually very nice to you. Venus entering, and you're thinking about, why is Sally from accounting being so pleasant to me? Because you know she wants you to do something for her. The moon meets Jupiter at 23 degrees, and this is beautiful energy. It can also be overwhelming emotionally, but you could just feel really, really great. One of your kids may just call you to tell you they love you, and you just feel really valued, or send you flowers, or somebody may do something nice that's heartwarming. Venus opposes Neptune retrograde in Aries, and then the truth is out. They want you to work their double shift tomorrow or what have you. That's why Sally was being nice to you, who's normally not nice to you. The truth comes out, and then you can decide whether you want to do her shift or not. And Pluto goes direct in Aquarius. So there can be a lot of intensity on this day, power struggles, sudden things breaking, volcanic eruption energy. On Tuesday, the word of the day is diamonds. The moon enters Leo at 3:46 a.m. Pacific time. I'm thinking about diamonds are a girl's best friend. Know if you see someone may be coming in and telling you I'm engaged. And then they're dressed to the nines all week so they can show everyone their ring. This is some intensity. People may be competing or struggling over things that they really prize. The moon will be opposite Pluto in Aquarius. That's stationing. This is a lot of fixed energy where there can be this really intense tug of war on this day that Venus trines Uranus retrograde in Gemini at 0 degrees, Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree. So there's this grand trine in air. Now you may be someone creative, a writer, the best thing they've ever written in their life. It can be really innovative and powerful. And yeah, it's a great time to journal. This is a great time to watch something really suspenseful. I'm watching this TV show on Amazon Prime called The Better Sister with Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks. It is really, really good. Apparently, it's based on a novel. So that may be something you want to check out on this day. And Jessica Biel's character is very Venus and Libra, really well put together, elegant. She's wrapped way too tight, though. And her sister is more like the Neptune and Aries, and they're like opposite each other, and there's all this suspense. On Wednesday, the word of the day is ravenous. The Leo moon squares Mars and Scorpio at 15 degrees of each of the signs on a world point. So there's going to be big news on this day. This is intense energy. You may see someone really dressed to the nines with that Leo energy. They can be decked out like they're royalty or something. And Mars and Scorpio, they're like really sexy, on the prowl. It's like a pack of lions on the hunt, but it's a bunch of sexy women dressed to kill. On Thursday, the word of the day is charitable. The moon enters Virgo at 11:05 a.m. Pacific time. A Virgo moon is a great time for decluttering. Virgo's energy brings order to chaos. And as soon as the moon moves into Virgo, it forms a yod, which is a chart pattern. It's the finger of God, with Neptune in Aries and Pluto Aquarius at the base. It can be putting the fine details on a beautiful garment. When the moon was in Leo, you got this great idea, Venus in Libra, to make the most beautiful dress ever. This is like fashion designer energy. Then the moon goes into Virgo and you're putting that final details on the stitching. Now, the word of the day is charitable because the sun in Libra squares Jupiter and Cancer on this day, both at 24 degrees. And this energy can show up as someone being very generous. Jupiter is generous with their emotions or caring. And Libra, they're very fair. Now, heart-centered leadership can be something that we're witnessing today. Someone who uplifts others through empathy and fairness, creating harmony, but not by avoiding conflict, but by elevating the tone of how you're going to challenge the situation. You may hear about someone giving away some money. You may want a raise from your boss and your boss tells you, okay, but the square, there's tension. You're going to have to step things up in some kind of way. Maybe you're going to have to watch your communication with your teammates to make it more refined. On Friday, the word of the day is descent. They're themes of sundowning, of a leader getting fired. If yesterday the boss went ham with the Jupiter and Cancer and got really emotionally overreactive, they could have a problem on this day because it's a balsamic moon at 9 Virgo at 4:56 a.m. Pacific time, where the moon is letting go of the last of its light. And the Libra sun is opposite Chiron in Aries at 24 degrees. This could be a self-inflicted wound from a leader where they got too drunk with Jupiter or just too overly emotional. And then the board of directors is telling them they have got to go. And the people are without a leader or direction, with the moon and the south node meeting on this day. This can feel like a drain. Something has been lost. There's quicksand energy. On Saturday, the word of the day is sneaky. Mars and Scorpio. Mars attacks. And Scorpio, it's like a sneak attack. And Mars and Scorpio is trying the North Node in Pisces. They're both at 17 degrees. So I got the energy of a raid at a strip club. The North Node rules groups. The Virgo moon is opposite Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Saturn brings consequences, limits, boundaries. Then the moon enters Libra at 9:01 p.m. Libra moons are times to think about partnering, being more connected. It's an air sign. Air communicates. Somebody may ask someone out on a date around this time. There's a sexy stranger standing right next to you. He's got his friends keeping your other friends company while he makes his move. This could be very sexy. So that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology and action stories, or let me know how the daily themes are playing out for you. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.